It wasn't me. Okay, welcome back to the second half, and I hope you've suitably refreshed.
You mucked up your mic stand.
You know I'm technically very proficient with mic stands, don't you? Okay, I think that's okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, well, she may be dead, but her legacy lives on. I refer, of course, to Linda McCartney. Where would we be without her sausages? Saint Linda. Before passing on, Linda froze enough sausages to satisfy lazy veggies. Where would we be without mini party rolls when a beer is on the go? Up there in wild Kintyre, stirring ingredients on an agar, mixing soya and methyl cellulose. What that is, God only knows. Stacked high in the chiller, her herby sausages fly. When I'm in the mood for mash, no substitute will do. I want Linda's bangers to hang out on the plate, in memory of a woman who sits with the man in the sky. God willing, her memory and her sausages will never die. One of Margaret's less clever ideas was to introduce cruise missiles, nuclear cruise missiles, into Greenham Common, making us target numero uno for a nuclear war. Fortunately, a lot of women turned up and made it very obvious it's something we didn't really want. But here's a poem I wrote at the time, and it's called A Life in the Day of Cruise. It's from the point of view of a cruise missile. If there's not a war today, I usually breakfast about 8. Eggs over easy, hash browns. I read the Daily Terrain, try to ignore crosswords. GIs polish my slim phallic shape with Coca-Cola. Time passes by. I lie around in the sun, wriggling in my silo, impatient to fly. Sometimes I think of home, dark factories, workers in overalls, coming here on a sea cruise, met by banners, Yanks go home. Time passes by. I lie around in the sun, wriggling in my silo, impatient to fly. At night, the excitement begins. Women come and hang flowers on my neck, stick pictures of beautiful children on my chest, paint words on my hips. They seem to like me. At times like these, I wish I had lips. Wish I could say, hi, what's a sweetheart like you doing in a dump like this? Time passes by. I lie around in the dark, wriggling in my silo, impatient to fly. She also liked to have dinner with people like General Pinochet, famous mass murderer from Chile, while calling Nelson Mandela a terrorist. So this is not an anti-Thatcher poem, it's a pro-South African poem. It's I wrote this in the 80s as well. It's dedicated to a South African poet, young poet called Benjamin Maloyizi, who was hanged by the apartheid government for saying the right things at the wrong time, and it's called When You Hang a Poet. When you hang a poet, you have not shut his mouth. When you strip his dancing body from the gallows, you have not shut his mouth. When your thieves of the light set his laughing corpse on fire, you have not shut his mouth. When weighted with your guilt, you sink his singing ashes to the ocean floor, you have not shut his mouth. You have opened a door, you have awoken every poet, who will in turn awake 1,000 more. Shelley's unacknowledged legislators of the world, for Africa's sake, demand that this be heard. When you hang a poet, you have not shut his mouth. Listen, he is speaking to you now. You have opened a door through which one day freedom will walk. Thank you. I'm going to do a couple of poems from my latest collection. This is called Looking for Eden, it's the title of the book. And I should point out that books are on sale, by the way. Little ad there. Called Festival Time. Let us celebrate a festival of nothingness, of carelessness, of streets empty of signs, of shadows flickering on the ceiling, of the sun taking a bow on a summer evening. Let us walk through the empty air, breathing the ebb and flow of a river devoid of self. Let us take to the street that is not there, that exists only in the touch of fingers which do not meet. Let us be of light and not of substance, hearing the ghost of a tram bell ring on tracks that travel to the limits of imagination. Let us be small and leave no prints on surfaces that cannot be felt. Let us dream of that which is undreamable. Let us celebrate unknowingness, only this, a planet of air spinning on the phantom of a kiss. So I want to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about my father's relationship with Wordsworth. My father came from the west of Ireland and Wordsworth didn't. So this is my father and Wordsworth. My father was born 61 years after Wordsworth died. This is how we are linked to the past. Wordsworth and my father never met, but only the span of a life separated them. Only the span of a life, geographical location, inclination, and denomination separated them. Take away these random factors, and a different picture emerges. Wordsworth and my father drinking Guinness in a snug in the west of Ireland, calling for snuff and postage stamps, sending for Coleridge to hear their latest magnum opus. My father poring over the 1799 version of the Prelude, alert to the possibility of poor scansion. These would have been happy times. Wordsworth and my father shooting the breeze, calling for porter, deciding to stay for just one more as Sligo's rain lashed down like the publican's friend it always is. But it was not to be. For they were separated by time and birth and place, these decent, one sung, one unsung champions of the human race. Thank you. This is my last one tonight, and it's called Waiting for Henry. There's a Henry in everyone's life. Henry is that unreliable friend who never turns up for an arrangement. There's probably several Henrys here tonight, except that you're not here because you said you were going to come, but something happened and you didn't. So, waiting for Henry. The rumours begin. Henry's back in town. Days pass. Henry rings. Says he might be at such and such a place, at such and such a time, on such and such a day. We go there anyway. Stand around with drinks. Someone spots Henry, but it's not Henry, just someone who looks like Henry. Henry rings to apologise. He got caught up, there was a girl, a train was late. We forgive Henry. He is only as weak as the strongest among us. Henry threatens to come to a party. From an upstairs window, we watch Henry's taxi arrive. He gets out, pays, remembers something, gets back in. We try to calculate how many years since we spoke to the physical Henry, pressed his physical flesh, stood him a drink. Once we saw him in the queue at Bob Dylan. There was a girl, there was a limousine. Henry melted away. We hear Henry's in Australia, or India, or Amsterdam. A card arrives without a stamp. It shows a white building, a red guard. Henry says he is getting his shit together. There was a girl, a plane was late. You know how it is. But we don't. We don't know how it is. This is why we love Henry, wherever he is.